Hello, sir. My name is Maurice Harker. I am the director of a organization called Life Changing Services. One of the programs in our company is called the Worth Group. The reason you are receiving this video is because your wife has passed it on to you, or someone else that you might love, because your wife has joined our Worth Group. I wanted you to be informed, to be aware of what she is going to be experiencing, what she's going to be learning as she participates in the Worth Group. The Worth Group was started about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. Started out with just a half a dozen, maybe a dozen women in my office who all had in common that their husbands had done something that was very painful to her, was very painful for her in a sense of broken loyalty, the term that has been created and surfaced since then, betrayal trauma. When they attend the Worth Group, which, by the way, Worth is an acronym for Women of Rebirth, Therapeutic Healing. In the Worth Group, we bring together somewhere between 6 and a dozen women who have similar backgrounds, and our goal with them as mental health clinicians, as certified licensed therapists, is to help them recover from post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms, painful flashbacks, fear, worry about the future, in an effort to help them get over what happened to them. We are helping the woman prepare for the repair of her marriage. We're helping her prepare to reunite with her husband. So in these meetings that are led by a clinician with an LDS background, all of our clinicians are well educated on the concepts, principles, traditions of the LDS culture. And so it is our first desire and hope that we can reunify the family, if that's at all possible, and taking these principles into consideration. I often use an analogy of building a marriage is like building a bridge, and before you can build a bridge across a river, both foundations, both sides must be in good order, must be in good shape. And so we often do a great deal of individual work with the woman. So in these Worth Group meetings, we will sweep away some of the dust, meaning we will explore what has happened, what they've experienced. In our meetings, we work very hard to glean any useful information out of this phase 1 of the meeting. And then our clinicians will start to build upon elements that they've heard. These clinicians are well trained, well prepared, and you are invited, of course, to have questions about what goes on in these meetings and what they learn. I will try to include in the notes under this video a link to a website where you can get an idea of what we teach them. I've done many Q&As with these women, and you'll get a pretty good idea of what we teach them based on the recordings and the transcripts of those Q&As. It's not a secret, it's not hidden, but we do want to keep the stories and the pain of other women confidential from families outside of theirs, and they keep their identity confidential as you would want yours and your wife's if it's shared with the public. Our goal with her is to help her become strong enough to re-enter the marriage if you do your part of the work to be prepared on your side of the bridge, your foundation, if you do your work. Now, it is assumed that you have already started that work. It's assumed that you've already become aware of what you might have done, your contribution to the problem. But you may be, like many men, are in mystery. What did I do? What am I still doing? Why is my wife still in pain? How come she keeps bringing up the past? What do I do with it? I'm willing to do what she says, but she won't even give me any clear answers. We have tried very hard to become skilled here at Life Changing Services to provide you with two main sources of training, of information, so that you can be ready, so that you can have your side of the bridge solid in preparation for her recovering from her side, so the marriage can be worked on. The first resource that we have for you that we want you to know about, Men of Moroni training program. If you are still fighting for personal self-mastery, if you have in the last 3 months participated in behaviors that are a threat to your marriage, behaviors that are of a sexual nature, that have scared her, have caused problems, if you've participated in any type of an affair or pornography usage or independent sexual activity, otherwise known as masturbation, then what you have done is a threat to the relationship, and you may be addicted, you may not be addicted. Men of Moroni is a sexual self-mastery training system that is designed to serve those whether they are addicted or not. It is an LDS principles-based training system. I invite you to explore it. There will be a link provided for you here. If you have gained good momentum in that area, you may not be perfect yet, but you're gaining progress. You are probably experiencing, if your marriage follows the same pattern that most of the others follow that we've worked with, you are experiencing confusion with why your marriage isn't recovering, why she's still behaving hurt and distant. Gentlemen, you may not have known this, but just stopping a bad behavior doesn't mean that things are prepared to be fixed. Just because you found what caused the bridge to collapse on your side of the water does not mean that just stopping the bad behavior is going to be enough. You're going to have to learn the several elements of marriage repair after your relationship has been devastated. You're going to need to be trained. You're going to need to be educated. There are multiple ways to do this. There are books, there's literature. Because therapy can be so expensive, clinicians in my position often charge in the neighborhood of $150 per session. That can drain your pocketbook pretty fast. You might want a small handful of those sessions, maybe more. But if you're like a normal person who does not have unlimited income, and because you may not be living near a specialist, I have put together a men's marriage repair webinar workshop. Every Thursday night, you are invited to attend via webinar from your home, from your office, from someplace that's convenient for you, a setting, an arena where a half a dozen, 2 dozen, depending on how many men show up at that time, where we do a Q&A, a theme-based conversation where common struggles that men who are working to repair their marriage go through, and we train on those, and then we do situational discussion. You and the others are invited to play the what about game with me, where we go, well, what about this, and what about that, and what about this circumstance? We want you to be able to be specific, like, what about this, so that you can repair it. And in an attempt to make it affordable, something you can survive financially, we've made that either $20 per session, or for 10 sessions, $150. So 10 sessions for the same price, 10 one-hour sessions for the same cost as one therapy session. If you're like most men, you don't want to be the center of attention for a full hour anyway. And so you would just as soon listen to what other men are going through, listen to similarities, and glean from another man's story. But sometimes you want yours addressed specifically, so when there's 24 men in the room, you can sit and listen, or you can participate more directly, and we will keep your name, your voice confidential. Past recordings of these meetings are available. We'll put a link to those as well. Oh, and by the way, because the woman is probably not responsible for being hit by a truck, the Worth Group participation is free. Your wife is not paying anything to participate in the Worth Group. She is able to experience that service for free. Some of the revenue brought on by the Men of Moroni program and our Men's Marriage Repair webinar workshop are used to provide those services on a therapeutic level for the women. So we are trying to keep the expenses for your household to a minimum. So as we wrap up here in this moment, you may want to get to know me better. There's plenty of videos. Just go through the video listing on this channel. Also, feel free to read some of the philosophies that are being taught in the book, I'm Not Okay, You're Not Okay, But That's Okay. I'll provide a link for that here as well. So, if you can't tell, we care about you, we care about your wife, we care about your family. It is our goal for the least expense possible to provide you with the training you need to recover from what has gone on in your household. We want your wife, we want you to no longer be in pain, and for you to have a happy and successful marriage. So, I hope to see you soon. I hope to meet you soon. Have a good day.